Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first video, hi, I'm Alaina, and this is The Organized Money, where we talk about planning life and managing money. In today's video, I wanted to talk about my September budget, the changes that I have made overall to my budget system, and the fact that I am going back to cash envelopes. So let's go ahead and get started. I started off my financial journey using cash envelopes consistently, but once I moved into working at home and not really leaving the house that often, I had stopped using cash envelopes and I was just using my debit card and credit card and then just paying it off at the end of every single month. But recently I have had to move back into cash envelopes, and today I wanted to talk about the reasons why I am back in cash envelopes and actually walk you through my process of stuffing my cash envelopes. First question, why am I moving back into cash envelopes? Well, the best answer is I am starting to travel and leave my house way more often than I used to. One reason that I'm leaving my house more often is because my husband and I are starting a church. Our church is set to open in January of 2022, which means we have a lot of meetings scheduled. We are visiting a lot of other churches. We are doing a lot of other events, and we are just not home as much as we used to be. In the past, I would normally just use my credit card and then pay it off at the end of the month, but I found that it was very difficult for me to keep track of my balance and keep track of how much money we were spending on a consistent basis. And I felt like cash envelopes would really help out with that. The second reason is I want to have more cash on hand. If you don't know, I live in New Orleans, Louisiana, and about 2 weeks ago, we were hit by Hurricane Ida. My entire family, which includes myself, my husband, my 2 kids, my parents, my aunt, and my cousin, evacuated the city and went all the way to Alabama to go and stay with my brother. Even though we know that a hurricane might be headed our way about a week before it actually hits, we usually don't know if we need to evacuate the city until about 2 days before, which was the exact case with Hurricane Ida. We found out on Friday that we really needed to leave the city and that it was going to be a Hurricane 3, and so we only had about a day to prepare. So having to go to the ATM was just one extra step that I would rather not have to do. So in the future, I feel like if I have cash envelopes and I have cash on hand, it is one less thing that I have to check off the list. And the third reason is I realized that I am much better managing my overall budget and not going over budget when I do it with cash. I really started going back to cash envelopes around the middle of August, and I wanted to see how I did the last 2 weeks of August before I fully switched my system. And once I really tried those last 2 weeks, I did much better. We did not go over budget. I was much better at managing it overall and not really going over in my categories. So for the month of September, I have decided to dive fully into cash envelopes. Now, to be honest, this isn't going to change my system that much. I am just putting my variable spending into cash envelopes, and I am still paying all of my fixed expenses at the beginning of every single month. The first thing that I will do is, because I am self-employed, I will pay myself once a month. Paying myself once a month just works out better for me. I usually will pay myself from my business account and put it directly into my savings account, and then move the money that I need for my fixed bills into my bill account and pull out the money that I need for my variable spending into my cash envelopes. So for this month, we are working off a monthly income of $7,000. Then I added all of my fixed expenses to my monthly budget spread. After I have written all of these down, I will look over my fixed expenses, and if it's not an automatic bill that comes out of the account, I will pay it at the time. But if it is something that's automatic and it comes out on a specific day, then I will mark my calendar and make sure that I keep track of when it's actually pulled out of the account. I also like to write a little A next to each expense that is going to be automatic. This is just a signal to me to let me know that I don't have to pay this manually. It will come out on its own. After I have covered all of my fixed expenses, the balance that is left over after I've paid everything is what is left for my variable expenses. Now, my variable expenses include food, gas, beauty, and shopping. And these are the amounts that's going to be divided up into my cash envelopes. the first thing that I'll do is break down the amount from the monthly amount all the way to the weekly amount. That way I know how much needs to go into each envelope for the week. So even though I budget for the full month and I will pay all of my fixed expenses at the beginning of every single month, I do not like to do my variable expenses the same way. I don't like to have that much cash on me, and I like to break down my variable expenses by the week. This helps me to not overspend, to not run into impulse shopping where I'm buying stuff just because I feel like I have money, and to keep better track of how much I am actually spending in each category. And whenever I am doing this process, especially with my variable expenses, I will always think about what I have going on for the week. So I will review my planner, see if I have anything in particular that is going on where I might need to set aside more money in one category versus another. And so my amounts may change from week to week. It's just the total doesn't change. So I have set aside $500 every single week for variable expenses. About $200 of that goes to food, and then there's $300 for everything else. Now my food budget doesn't really change. We usually have to go to the grocery store at least once a week, but every other category may change based on what's going on. So what do I do to keep track of my cash spending? Well, I use two things. The very first thing I use is an app called Spending on my phone. I'm able to keep track of the different things that I'm spending my money on right on the spot just by putting it in the app. I find that this is much easier while I'm on the go because I am trying to do a bunch of different things at one time, and trying to pull out my planner was just a little bit too difficult. But at the end of every single week, I will transfer all of the spending that I have done for that week into my planner so that I am able to evaluate, look back on, and see how I have done for the week. And it's okay if I have overspent in a particular category, as long as I haven't overspent for the entire week and gone over my $500 budget. And this method has worked for me so well while I have been on the go, while I have been doing different things. Being able to just keep track of how much money I have on me and counting it every single night, making sure that I am staying on top of it, has made it to where I'm not swiping my card as much, and I'm really able to keep track of what's going in and out of my accounts. So this has brought me back where I started. I started off with cash envelopes, and now I'm right back there with my cash envelopes. And I promise you, I have really seen a transformation with my overall spending. I'm not going over budget. I am really sticking to my budget. So let me know, do you use cash envelopes? Please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your stories if you're using them. If you're not using them, why did you stop? Please let me know, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, keep organizing your life so that you can achieve your dreams. Bye guys.